What did I tell you, Kyle?
What did I tell you?
About watching bad movies.
About talking to strangers.
He's not a stranger.
How come I ain't never seen him before?
Don't do it, sir.
What did I tell you, Kyle?
What did I tell you?
What did I tell you?
He told me things.
What did I tell? Hello, welcome back to the 63rd episode of Good Bad Media, the show where we watch terrible movies and tell you if you should too. I am your host, Mr. Brian Chilgo, the other host, Mr. Kyle Hinton. I want to say this one more time before we get going because we get comments about it constantly. Still, some of our episodes are copyright claimed and gone. Some of them are back. Captain America. Battlefield Earth. I don't know why that related to Captain America for me. Battlefield Earth is back up. A handful of Deck the Halls. A bunch of them got resolved. Other ones that we disputed did not get resolved. Sleepwalkers is still claimed.
Appeal. Yeah, but we still think we can copyright this.
Yeah. So Sleepwalkers is still blocked. There's a few, but like most of the ones that were blocked have not been blocked. There's a couple other ones that are currently not available. They will become available in the very near future. There's a reason they're not currently available. I'll just say what they are because it doesn't matter. The Ben and Arthur episode, everybody keeps asking. It's not up right now. It just hang tight. It'll be back up. And same for the Xi-Yun Wang episode. We're not even going to get into that.
There's reasons.
There's reasons. That will also return at some point in the very near future. Just right now, it's not available. So if you're looking for certain episodes, they're not up. But a lot of them have come back. So woohoo! All right, let's get into it. You're the fan. This was recommended. It is a bit of a Halloween. This is one of our October episodes. It's not a Halloween episode.
Is it a bit of a Halloween episode, or is this like? Okay, so I'll just straight get this joke right off the bat. This movie is to Twilight what Eli Manning is to Peyton Manning.
That is exactly accurate.
I wonder if you feel my eyes on you as you walk into the room. Do you notice me through the crowd as you would move?
That is roll credits. That is absolutely accurate. This film came out in 2010. It's called the Incubus. I almost said the Succubus, which I believe is just like the female version of the Incubus.
Like they're both basically in there.
Yeah, because there are, I think, succubi in this, because there are women with the, anyways. Because an incubus is a male demon who like has sex with sleeping women, I believe is what it is. It's also a mediocre band from the early 2000s. But got him. So people, finally somebody going after Incubus. They've been way too high for far too long. And so I believe that's what an incubus is. So a succubus is probably like the female, roughly equivalent. I'm sure that's wrong, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Don't at me. Did you know it's not a Pinto, Kyle? That car is not a Pinto.
Are
it's
you
a Honda.
sure?
I don't know.
Are you sure?
Sorry. I don't know shit about cars. It just looked like a Pinto to me, but apparently it's a Honda Civic. Anyways, yes, it came out in 2010, which Twilight came out in 2005. Mm-hmm. The movie came out in 2008. This probably filmed for several years, so this probably was more so inspired by the books than the film.
How do we know it was inspired by Twilight?
Well, okay, so there's a forlorn girl in college in this, but we'll talk about that. She's in college in this story. Mm-hmm. She doesn't move to a new town like in Twilight, or didn't she move to Forks? I can't remember, but we'll talk about that anyways. So there's a girl, some new people come to town, some weird kind of group of people that dress like weirdos show up in town, and she's...
You mean the group of people who look like RuPaul rejects?
Yeah, to me, they looked like they were going to a Ren fair, but couldn't decide on a theme. They were sort of like, one of them's like a vampire, one of them's just kind of like a gothy kid, and then like...
Well, the main dude looks pretty much just like a motorcycle guy for the most part.
The main character, Raphael, is the character's name, who plays essentially Edward's role in this film. But he's not a vampire. Make that perfectly clear. He's an incubus. Although they never actually say that word in the movie, which I thought was interesting.
I'm not human. We're like ghosts that get our energy from human emotion and life.
But he dresses like Tommy Wiseau does in real life in
And
this
almost
movie.
sounds like
and
him.
sounds, I cannot express enough how this is like watching Tommy
Money,
Wiseau.
no. Money, don't do it.
Marley, don't do it. Please. Don't. Marley. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. There's a moment where he says, Marnie, stop, or he's like, stop.
Stop. I'm not going to hurt you.
And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds exactly like Tommy Wiseau.
Get out of here.
This isn't over.
It's Twilight. It's a girl falls in love with a paranormal entity of some sort, but they can't be together because if he's with her, she'll, you know, he might want to eat her and this suck her soul out. And if they touch, there's the slight curve in this one where if they touch, it like sucks. That's how they don't bite people. They touch them to suck their soul out, essentially.
You don't even really have to touch them.
No.
Really, you just have to be close enough and you just absorb their
Yeah,
energy.
Yeah, they kind of absorb their energy with a very well-crafted visual effect that they used for the absorption of souls in this film.
Put it this way, it could have been worse.
Yes.
It could have been so much worse.
And just more parallels on the Twilight thing. I didn't realize this, but Katie made it clear to me. She goes, we were talking about, I was like kind of showing her parts of it last night because I watched it on my own and I was just kind of like, you got to see some of this. And we were going through it and she goes, did they say this is Spoon River?
For us, in the town of Spoon River.
And I'm like, yeah. She goes, you know the name of the town in Twilight, right? And I was like, no. She's like, it's Forks. So Spoon River. She's like,
And let's just take a moment to talk about the writer of this fantastic piece.
It was written and co-directed and stars a woman named Shane Layton, who it looks like she probably worked on this right out of college or during college potentially. She looks fairly young. I looked her up on the internet. She writes books and stuff. She here's the thing. I will give her this. Let nothing stand in her way of accomplishing her dream. And I mean that in a way, like, also, she seems to be like a very genuinely nice person from all the videos I've watched of her online and actually like, and I say this, like a very like competent person, unlike some of the people. I just don't think she knew at the time how to make a movie, which is very clear.
I didn't know how to make my own movie, which is why it is what it is.
I know, and that's a very common problem. But the writing, while derivative and cliche, isn't like awful, but everything else about, I mean, it's awful in the sense that it's just a Twilight clone in some sense, but like it's not, none of the dialogue is super terrible, but it is all terrible because it's all delivered terribly. Like nobody can act in this movie.
I don't know, we didn't give me a reason.
Marnie, I really think we ought to do something about this. This is stupid. We ought to tell somebody.
Yeah.
There's either zero emotion, insert Raphael, who is just a blank slate.
It is impossible for you to love someone like her.
It is impossible for you to love anyone at all.
Or
no, I can't. I can't be near you. I'd kill you.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm so emotional right now.
She was going to kill herself.
So?
I don't know. I've never felt that before. I wanted to do something.
Don't be an idiot. You can't feel anything.
I did.
I am acting like dead person.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, there's a slight twist in that they're not supposed to feel things, but he does feel things because of her, I guess, whatever.
I did.
But then, so that's him, is like zero emotion at all in this movie. And then there's the father, or the uncle character, Walter, who is just at 11 at all times throughout this movie.
Yes.
Why, it's 9:05, girl. Don't you think best be getting on your way?
With a southern accent.
You came home late last night, girl.
Yeah, I know, I was...
When you don't come home, I get a bit worried. You see?
I have no clue. You know damn well he put on that accent.
Oh, yeah. Nobody else in the movie has an accent. Everybody sounds like just kind of a generic, like us. Like, you know.
What did I tell you?
What did I tell you?
The fucking uncle. What did I tell you? Marnie, what did I tell you about strangers?
No, little girl. You don't get away from me that easy.
Like, it's so over the top, and it's, again, nobody else has an accent. So like, okay, sure, fine.
Well, it appears that's true. It appears that's true. One moment, please.
Oh, I just got real quick. I got to read this. This is on the IMDb page for this movie, and I thought it was really funny. Oh, this is her first year out of high school. So she did this in high school, right? Her first year out of high school. So yeah, the fact that it's bad. And she's also a singer. She did all the music in this. And again, here's the thing: she's a pretty good singer, but the music is like the most derivative, like Evanescence.
It is so Twilight. It is painful.
I wonder if you feel my eyes on you as you walk into the room.
Yeah, but it's, again, she's a good singer and the songs aren't terrible, but it's like, oh, this is just everything else I've ever seen that's like this.
I'm fascinated by you.
It's like girl rock power anthem. For
Well,
like.
yeah, kind of, but more like that angsty, it's like angsty girl anthem.
It happens every time you're near me. My heart starts to pound and I feel so weak.
But this is from the IMDb page. In Shane's first year out of high school, she penned, co-directed, and starred in the feature film The Incubus, a paranormal romance which obtained distribution and screened in over 15 theaters across southern Florida.
And did not try to sequel bait itself at all.
I don't know if it did, because I don't know. She has a couple other movies, which we might have to check out at some point if we can find them. This one, by the way, is available on YouTube, through the distributor,
Our good friends, Maverick Entertainment.
Who did
Treasure
Raiders.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also it's available on Amazon Prime if you have Amazon. So anyways, yeah, 15 theaters in southern Florida, so a rousing success. So it's in the town of Spoon River. We get an opening, and she's like talking over it and says, "Time seems to stand still because this place is boring," which I think is like the exact same opening of like Twilight. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
In the town of Spoon River, time seems to stand still. Nothing ever changes.
So, I can't bring myself to regret the decision to leave home. I would miss Phoenix.
Well,
but
didn't the Twilight start with her moving from like Phoenix, Arizona?
Yeah, wow. She moves from somewhere to Forks, and then instead of like in this one, the vampires move, which I think they do in that too. And they're not vampires. It doesn't matter. So there's an opening slate though, and this was very confusing to me. I think I have since sussed it after watching the movie a whole time and thinking about it, because it's very hard to put together, I think. But there's an opening slate that says on November 1st, the entire town of Spoon River disappeared. And a diary was found. Oh, okay. And I was like, okay. And then it cuts to Spoon River, and there's people there. And I'm like, okay, so I guess it hasn't happened yet. That's what it is, and we'll get there. That's what it is that it hasn't happened yet, and we're going back through the events that lead up to this, which is interesting. And I think I know what happens. I think I figured it out. The Incubi or whatever fucking roll up in their awesome clothes, and they like kill a family basically, and take their house.
It's a really nice home, and then they're dead.
And they do like the fast movement thing in this movie all the time, where they just speed up the film to make them look like, whoa, they're vampire, or they're not vampires, but whatever the fuck.
They poof places.
This isn't over.
But also, I love there's an opening graphic that I guess is supposed to be the journal. That it's like a CG book opens up. It looks like you're starting up like Microsoft Encarta from like the 90s. Like you're gonna do like a digital, you're gonna get like an encyclopedia that came on 84 CD-ROMs.
And like the thing that like the pages turn, and they have the indentions CGI'd into the back of the page. It just looks terrible.
It's so bad. I was like, either I'm about to bust into a real sweet CD-ROM encyclopedia, or I'm about to watch Eyewitness. I don't know if you remember.
It felt like I
Eyewitness,
was going through mist.
Yeah, exactly. It's so great. We're introduced to Marnie and her abusive stepfather, Walter. Or sorry, it's not stepfather. I call it uncle in this instance. We don't find that out until later that he's her uncle, but we just know he's like, she's living with him or whatever. And she's got to get to school, basically. So she's getting ready for school, to leave for school, and he's like being shitty to her.
Why, it's 9:05, girl. Don't you think you best be getting on your way?
Yes, sir.
And I was like, is this guy, did Goldberg, the wrestler Goldberg, play this guy?
He looks like Michael Rooker, I think it is.
Oh, yeah,
He looks like
yeah.
him from Mallrats.
Oh, well, Michael Rooker is the guy from, it's funny that for you that's from the guy from Mallrats,
yeah.
but he's Walking Dead and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
it's very telling about your references.
I use Mallrats because he's like just a bald guy who wears suits in that movie.
Right. But yeah, it's funny because he's almost doing a similar accent to like in The Walking Dead at least.
Merle,
to Merle a little bit. It's similar-ish.
Marty, you didn't even ask me how my day was.
That's good. Yeah, that means I'm the boss, right?
So this is another thing I thought was really funny about this movie. She gets outside, or she's getting ready to go to school, and her friend shows up, and they do like a stupid fake jump scare with them.
Johnny!
And then she's got a trash bag in her car to like pick up trash.
You talking about Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny.
You talking about Green Day?
Yeah.
Reject?
Yeah, Reject from Green Day. Yeah. Great hair on that guy. But so he shows up and he goes, did you finish, or she asks him, did you finish your thesis?
Yo, did you finish your thesis?
And I'm like, because at this point we don't know how old these people are. And I'm like, oh, thesis? Are you in high school? What, you don't do a thesis in high school.
Well, here's the other thing. So it'd be a thesis for your midterm?
Or something,
roughly?
Yeah.
Because
it's November,
it'd be
or it's the lead up. Yeah, it's the lead up to November.
So it'd be like right before you go into fall break.
Yeah, so it's a weird time to have a thesis. And also, but first I was confused because I assumed they were high schoolers because one, she's living with her uncle, her abusive uncle, which is a very like high schooler storyline.
Yeah, especially with the clique.
Oh no.
Well. Look at what the bat dragged in.
Yeah, and then the clique. No, here's what I think. So then she gets to college, and there is a clique of like the popular girls who like bully her.
Wednesday Addams and her trusty little sidekick. Emo band boy.
And I'm like, what? This has to be high school. But then she has, okay, so here's what I think happened. I think she wrote this story set in high school. And then when she wanted to make it, she was like, because she made it a year out of high school, and I guess a lot of the people she could get to be in it didn't look like high schoolers. So she goes, I'll just move it to college, but I'm not gonna like rewrite the characters. So there's still gonna be this cliquey like popular girl group who like picks on people in college.
It's so painful.
It's so weird. But she did add a line, and again, who knows this is how it went down, but she added a line when that clique shows up and is like picking on her. She goes,
okay, wow, bitch. We've all graduated high school already, so I think it's time for you to do the same thing.
It's like, you wrote this. Why? That doesn't exist.
That was painfully self-realizing.
Yeah.
That's sitting below the belt, and if you skanks, you wanna play dirty, huh? Why don't you go find a mud pit to wrestle in?
So then we find out Marnie's parents are dead, basically. There's a line about how her parents are dead.
In the greatest flashback ever.
Yeah. There's also, so they leave the class. Basically, they turn their thesis in or whatever. They leave the class, and I love there's a great moment where some bro comes by and like pushes Johnny over, and I'm like,
Watch out, gang.
I'm like, no, Johnny, don't worry about them.
again, you wrote, this is high school. Nobody comes up to another college student and is like, nerd, and pushes them over. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, it's so weird.
Oh my God.
What a dork.
Bye.
Large kid, fat ass.
So then the music kicks in and we get some great the Evanescence themes that she has written for this film.
I wonder if you feel my eyes on you as you walk into the room.
No,
and so they're at the club. They go to the club that night.
The closest thing I got to quote unquote bullying, if you want to even say that.
Well,
it's just dickery in college.
Right.
So it was two people who specifically got into my group for a literature class, and they didn't want to be in the class, so they got into my group, and then they dropped it. So I had a 3 group project that turned into me doing it by myself.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I'm saying that like there's no bullying in college. There is. I'm just saying
that probably is not bullying.
No, it's them being dicks. But the depiction of it in this film is very much a high school level
high school
of bullying. It's like Mean Girls, but then they're like, we're in college. I'm like, no, okay.
Yep.
Watch out, gang.
Oh my, no, Johnny, don't.
So then they walk into the club, and there's a great slow-mo walk of the vampire coming into the music with his hair. He's got really long hair. This is the Tommy Wiseau vampire guy.
We're just gonna keep calling him a vampire.
He's a fucking vampire. I'm not calling him an incubus. It's dumb. So he rolls in, and all my notes say vampire the whole time, even though I legitimately forgot until halfway through that they weren't vampires. And then I remember, oh yeah, they're not actually vampires. And so we keep cutting to his eyes, and he's staring at her, and this is when he instantly falls for her. But even just him across the club staring at her sucks some of her energy out because she faints or passes out in the club.
Oh my God, Marty! Hey, somebody call the ambulance! Somebody get some help, all right?
Yeah, so okay, they take her home from this.
Yeah.
And the reason they're at this club is because one of their friends is a singer.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, is she singing or doing stand-up? I don't know. She's doing something.
Hello, Spoon River! Chris!
But she faints and they take her home, and her uncle has an insane reaction.
Do that in public again.
Oh
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
He comes in. Yeah,
she fainted. What's the normal reaction to that?
Are you okay?
Do you need to go, we need to take you to the hospital? We gotta take you to a doctor. No. What did I tell you about fainting in public?
You hear me? You understand me?
Yes,
You understand me?
Yes, sir.
You're making a fool of us. Like what?
People at the top, Marty. What they gonna think? You keep dropping dead like that.
That doesn't even. I know you're the bad guy, but like, what? Doesn't even make sense.
You answer me when I talk to you.
So then we get an interstitial though, while in between the fainting and that where we watch two of the vampires go hunt. The fucking incubus go hunting, the incubi go hunting. I just love this. So there's random cuts of this girl with like a shovel, I guess doing chores, like she's probably supposed to be a farmer or something, and like walking into a little hut, and the Raphael is stalking her, and then there's some guy like jogging or running away, and Bianca, who's our main like villain succubus lady, is stalking him. They both end up getting their soul sucked out. Great CG, but my favorite thing is this one. There's a random cut in. Because, like, I guess, again, she's supposed to be on a farm, the girl that he's stalking, and they cut to, like, this weird goat thing. It's a weird, I don't know what it is, but it cuts back, and it's just, you see it from behind, and it's testicles. I'm not joking. Its legs are, like, okay. I'm going to illustrate
Why
this.
are you using Yoda?
You guys ready for this? So, like, its legs are like here. I'm not joking. Its balls are the size of this cup dangling between its legs. It's so weird.
What you
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Did we just violate Yoda on camera?
I believe we violated our viewers.
Jeez. If you want to give YouTube a reason for censor, for like being like,
yes,
mature content restriction.
Fake blue balls on Yoda. But anyways, it's very strange, and I was like, why would you include a shot of goat testicles in your? Anyways.
What you
But then when she gets in, she goes into like this little shed, and I love the camera pans up. She walks in, the camera pans up the vampires he's in there. If you look, and I didn't notice this the first time, Katie noticed this when I was like showing her shit. It pans up, and the first shot of his feet, he's standing in a cat's litter box.
What?
He has one foot. It's empty. It doesn't have any litter in it, but it is very clearly a litter box on the floor, and he has one of his feet in it. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just move the litter box? Why would you leave that there and be like, yeah, just stand in that? It's so weird. It's so fucking weird, man. I don't know. It's so fucking weird.
Everything else that's happened in this film, that is the thing that's gonna be stuck in my head.
He's standing in the litter box. It's so random. It's like a half-second shot, but I'm like, why? Just take it out of the shot. Move it. What are you doing?
And you're standing in cat shit.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yes. Okay, I guess you're cool with that. So then we get some, basically, he has a picture of her. We cut to a shot of him with a picture of her.
And where did he get it?
We don't know. He just got a picture, right?
Well, I mean, it's not like he can't get into a place to steal it.
That's true. He can teleport around, I guess. So he gets a picture probably from her bedroom or something of her, and he's looking at it, and Bianca sees it, and she's like, who is she? And he's like, nobody.
Who is that, Raphael?
No one.
And she's like, who is she?
I said nobody.
Yeah.
I asked you a question.
I answered your question.
I'm gonna reshoot this movie shot for shot with Kyle in the role of Raphael.
Why are you coming after me? I told you she's nobody. I gave you an answer. Now go away.
It's amazing.
I answered your question.
And also the sound quality is really spotty throughout the whole course of the film, but there's some moments here where it's really, really not great.
You came home late last night, girl.
Yeah, I know, I was...
So then we find out that the reason Marnie, who even though she's in college, lives with her uncle is because Johnny's like, why don't you move out? Like, just move out.
You know, what if you move in with me?
And come stay with me. Like, and she's like, well, I can't because he has my parents' house. That's my parents' house. And if I leave, he'll get it?
And you'd be living in my parents' house. That's my parents' house. I can't leave it to that bastard. I just can't.
Because I'm not living there? Like squatters' rights? Like, I don't know what the idea with that is. You would think there'd be some sort of legal process that would have happened.
Well, here's the thing. Ideally, what would happen is they would have put it into a trust.
Right.
And it would have essentially gone to her at the age of probably 18. That's typically when most stuff does.
And she's well over 18 now.
I think 19 they even say.
She's in college, so she has to be at least 18.
She could claim the damn thing if she wants.
You would think. Again, they don't ever really go into the specifics of the legal implications. I guess part of the idea is that obviously the parents were pretty young and didn't have like a will or anything set up because they were murdered when they were, in their 40s or something. But yeah, so basically that's why Marnie doesn't want to leave because the dad has the house. So then we get to the library. We cut to the library, then class next day so that Raphael can show up and be in their journalism class. Oh, and then they also green screen a church behind Walter. Like he's not in a real church. They green screen a church.
What is his job? Is
he's a preacher, I think, because he's like in church preaching a lot, and he's also constantly sweaty in this movie.
Yes.
This day that recalls my passing. I get a bit. That's like you asked your mama.
Like
he is drenched in sweat.
I couldn't decide if that was a creative choice because he's like evil, or if like that guy was just really hot all the time, or like on fucking cocaine or something. Like
yes, like even when he's in jail, he's like drenched in sweat.
He's always sweating. And now again, I think they're filming in like Florida. It looks like, and assuming based on that earlier thing saying it was in theaters in Florida, that's probably where it is. But everybody else is wearing like 8 layers all the time because they're all like gothy punk kids.
Oh, God.
But he's like in a t-shirt and somehow still sweating profusely, and everybody else is in like sweatshirts and shit, and they're all like fine. I'm like, something's wrong with you, dude. And that's coming from me, and I sweat a lot, as evidenced by these episodes.
Yeah. Wait, just give me a sec. I think I'm still dizzy from last night. I don't know.
Oh, and there's a random, he hears the voice, in the church scene, he hears voices. And I guess it's like the spirits of his brother and wife, or his sister-in-law who he murdered.
Stop torturing me!
He goes, Marnie, is that you?
Marnie, that you?
Is that you?
Marnie, that you?
Is that you?
Marnie, that you?
Is that you? I love this guy. His accent.
Let me be.
Leave me in pain.
It's just amazing. I just love it so much.
Who is that? Barney, that's you?
Who is that? So we flash back 13 years earlier. Him and his brother are sitting on, Walter and his brother, the father of Marnie, are sitting on a pier fishing. And basically at this point, the mom has already died. And he's like, how are you going to take care of little how are you going to take care of Marnie?
You think you're ready to take care of that child on your own?
Are you ready for that?
Hey, you know this very public pier that we're on?
Yeah,
I got a great idea. I'm just going to pull out a gun and shoot you.
Right in the face!
And I'm gonna look out for Marnie too.
It's kind of great. And the guy, I love, he just goes, but he doesn't move or
Well,
try
even
to
better than that, he takes off his hat a little bit. He's like just covers himself.
So then Marnie decides she wants to do, then this never goes anywhere. A lot of storylines never go anywhere in this, but she decides she wants to do a story on the people who moved into their town because it's the only interesting thing that's ever happened is one random family moving into town from somewhere.
Story?
Yeah. Well, I mean on you and your family, because we haven't had new neighbors here in years. You're the most exciting thing that's happened here since ever.
We moved here because I like the university.
You know that's bad.
That's a terrible story. Like, nobody would fucking read that.
Why are you in this side of the neighborhood?
I need to get to know the area, right?
Yeah, right. Listen, about before, I didn't mean to make you feel like a commodity or anything.
And then she gets home, and apparently she came home late because Walter starts yelling at her about being home late.
What did I tell you about coming home late, girl?
She's home. She shuts the refrigerator. She opens the refrigerator door. There's nothing in the kitchen. She opens the refrigerator door and then she shuts it, and Walter's just there behind her. And this is where he starts grabbing at her and screaming at her, and he's like, "What did I tell you about talking to strangers?
What did I tell you about talking to strangers?"
And that sort of thing. I know I'm like turning into the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop. I am the cream. I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop!
You sound like either Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Yeah.
You sound like this guy, if he was going to do anything in life, he would be with like WWE.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Absolutely,
absolutely like a wrestler who's like, he's actually a good wrestler character, like some crazy priest who like murdered his he has like a great wrestler backstory, you know what I mean?
And here's the thing, since he's always glistening.
Yeah.
How come I ain't never seen him before?
Yeah, you don't have to put as much oil on him.
No, he's perfect. He should just be a wrestler. Like, it really is like a great wrestler backstory. But he also has a great evil laugh, so she runs out, and he's like, yeah.
Oh, Lordy, Lord.
You know what his wrestling name would be? It'd just be Preacher.
Preacher. Yeah, no, it's good.
I'm living in a nightmare.
Where's that?
I am the cream.
I think he'd be a great wrestler. That would be.
Oh God, for his what is it, the
belt?
No.
His costume.
Leotard. Where it's just the pants, because you know you damn well he would just have like the Speedo thing going.
Oh yeah.
It would literally just be a cross, a crucifix on the crotch.
Crucifix on the crotch.
Oh, Lordy, Lord. Money!
Oh, when she walks into that room, I was like, you can hear this breathing. She walks into the room, and it's the cut, and this is what I think is a pickup shot. It's right after the kitchen scene. Back-to-back scene.
Yeah, you can hear heavy breathing
and
on
I'm like,
the microphone.
oh, is he sleeping? Here's the thing. I was at this point thinking, oh, is this his bedroom and he's going to be sleeping there? But then because you hear this breathing, and then as she starts going through shit, she's like slamming shit around. And I'm like, okay, he cannot be sleeping in the bed because he would just wake up.
Because all we could hear was,
yeah. And then I realized, oh, that's the cameraman. better in that scene. You can hear when they start doing close-ups, they're like, him and Walter and Marnie are arguing. You can hear the cameraman moving the zoom, and it goes. You know that the very distinct sound of hands on a camera, which if you've ever listened to like Sony Handycam video, is very obvious what it is. And holy shit, I was like, oh.
He's probably like, yeah, and I picked that up.
What in God's name do you think you'll do, Andy?
So then there's a bunch of random scenes. Again, the continuity in this film gets really sticky, where it seems like they just started throwing scenes in at different places to try to, and then like filming stuff at different times and trying to make things connect. Because there's scenes with the vampire and Bianca, where her hair is one way and he's dressed one way, and then it cuts, and then they're in the next scene and they're completely different clothing and completely different hairstyles. And there's a scene where he walks into her and Bianca's sitting in a chair, and he puts out the fireplace by like waving his hand at it.
You're acting like a child.
And it's very clearly a gas fireplace, and somebody off camera just goes and turns off the gas. So the fire goes out when he waves his hand at it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
You're acting like a child. Where is Olivia?
Then we get to the scene where Marnie, because of the abusive uncle, is considering killing herself. We're in the bathtub. This is the scene that made me want to watch this movie.
Yes.
So when I was clicking through, when somebody recommended this, and I was like, ooh, the quality looks promising. And then I started clicking through, and I landed on this scene. This is the one I'm like, all right, I'm in. We're doing it. She's in a bathtub sitting there.
With a razor blade.
With a razor blade.
As you do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how I do, but so he's sitting there, and it is never explained how this happens. It's just magic, I guess. So Raphael is walking by a pool.
A pool is like our crystal ball.
Oh, Marnie, don't do it.
For some reason, that is able to like look into
her bathroom. What a creep! Like, that's his creeping pool. It's his looking pool.
Could you imagine if that was the construction of this pool? Like whoever was the neighbor across the street or something like that. It was like, all right, so I want this in-ground pool, but I really want to be able to look into one of our neighbors' bathrooms.
Installed. It's actually not magic at all. It's just a giant LED TV at the bottom of the pool, and there's a camera mixed in the window. It's just whoever had this house before was a huge fucking creep spying on their neighbors. But he sees her, and this is
no, Marnie, stop! Don't do it,
Marnie. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please, don't do it. Don't do it.
It is the most Tommy Wiseau scene that has ever been filmed not by Tommy Wiseau, and I'm including everything from The Disaster Artist. This is so perfectly Tommy Wiseau. No, Marnie, don't do it. No.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You have to trust life, and life is beautiful.
Oh, hi, doggy. Oh, hi, Marnie.
It's bullshit. Marnie. I did not absorb a soul. It's bullshit. I did not.
And do all that. Okay, that's the thing. We're getting a wig for you.
Oh God!
And we're getting you the Raphael wig and the clothing, and we're doing scenes from. We're rewriting scenes from The Room, but with dialogue that makes sense for the Incubus. So it's. We're doing that. That is it.
See, I want to feel life again, but you don't. You're just a chicken. Chip, chip, chip. I am sick of this life or afterlife.
We're doing this. This is the best thing ever. This would be the best thing ever.
Shoots himself. Oh shit, that didn't work.
I don't know what's happening. This is the end. All right. Okay. We're good.
Johnny, where did you get the drugs?
Yeah, Johnny, yeah. Whew. Okay. All right. Yep. We're doing that. We're going to start writing that. We're absolutely filming that. I need to see you in that wig with an affliction shirt and chains. It has to be done.
I can't tell you how we kill people. It's confidential. Anyways, how's your sex life?
Oh, my God. So then, basically, he stops her, he yells at her and tells her not to kill herself.
Don't do it!
And then he punches the pool, and that somehow...
breaks a window?
A window that we cannot see in her bathroom. And so glass falls into the pool with her, or into the hot tub, or the bathtub with her. And then, but also, we're intercut with shots, and then
by the way... probably made this worse.
Yeah, now she's like in a tub with glass.
Yes.
She's like, ah!
Now she'd be like, well, I don't want to kill myself, but if I stand up...
It's just stay in this tub forever. But we're also interspersed with sepia-toned cuts of when Raphael killed himself. Because he killed himself by hanging himself with a noose, and he clearly doesn't know how to make a noose because he puts it around his neck, and it's it's like a giant gap.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, that's not how that works.
Well, maybe you'll want to give yourself slack.
No, I don't think you do. And then
as an expert in making nooses, Brian.
Yeah. Also, I love this. So later we find out via a newspaper article that she finds that he killed himself during World War I. He was like a World War I soldier.
Yes. And thankfully, I don't know how they did it, but man, they have some high resolution photos back then.
Yeah.
Especially of a soldier who has flowing locks in World War I.
Also, who hung himself on a palm tree? Because he fucking hangs himself on a palm tree. Like, oh, you know, all those, the Eastern Front, notorious for palm trees. Oh, and then so Walter comes in and he yells at her because the window broke, and he starts banging
on the door. Okay, so he's doing all this stuff. She is getting clothed to a degree.
Clothed,
like,
yeah. I said clothed. I was like, what? Like cloven hooves?
Clothed.
Like what?
But he breaks in. And did you notice something about the door?
It was open already.
There's no lock.
Oh, is there?
There's literally no locking mechanism at all on the door. It's just a swinging door.
Oh.
It doesn't even have a latch.
I don't know.
So
it's like a super fancy bathroom. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's open. And I was like, well, that seemed easy.
So he comes in and he starts like choking her and shaking her. He's like, "How dare you!" And he hits her head against the wall. It's very badly staged. Like, I'm gonna slowly, like it's pretty great. But then Raphael stops him by sucking his soul out, and now I thought he killed him.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, because here's the thing. I was like, is he just gonna leave Marnie to have to explain to the cops how this guy died, like on her? But no, he didn't kill him. He just sucked his soul out enough so that he would like pass out, like Marnie did earlier, basically.
Yes.
And then she calls Johnny, and Johnny comes and gets her, and they go and stay at Johnny's mom's house. Which again, all one of my other favorite things, all the houses in this look like houses from porn sets.
Yes. Yes.
Right. They're those houses you can rent for like $1,000 for a day to film your real bad vampire film in, or a gangbang. Like that's what those houses are for.
So it's pretty much guaranteed that if anything was shot like close up and enclosed in like some sort of indoor interior, that's at one of these porn houses.
Yeah. So then Marnie goes to bed that night at Johnny's, and Raphael teleports into her room, and there's like weird flashing lights, colored lights, and then he like gets on her bed and is like, just laying on her. It's very strange. Yes. I'm like, don't do that, you fucking weirdo.
Well, I had to recreate that scene from Twilight where Edward's just like,
oh yeah,
zips into her room. Is like, I'm looking at you.
Yeah. So then we get a flashback. I guess she's dreaming or whatever to when her mom died, and this makes no sense.
Okay, if what I'm to understand is that Walter killed her and then dismembered her into a trash
in
bag?
the matter of minutes. So they're on a crowded boardwalk. It seems like she sees her mom, they run over and they're like on a boardwalk, and she goes to look, little girl Marnie goes to look through like a telescope thing, and then her mom walks away, and then she stops looking through the telescope. And during that time, Walter somehow abducted his mother, Marnie's mom, and killed her in the middle of all these people somehow,
dismembered her and took her wedding ring, like to pawn it.
No, it's like a necklace. I think.
That was it. Yes,
I was like, what? How did that all happen?
This guy's 2 for 2. He's successful.
He's a master assassin. He's a very good serial killer, and because again, that one is like in the middle of people all around. It's very strange.
Now I'm gonna make sure young Marnie gets this fine necklace. I know that you would have wanted her to have it.
We discussed the fact that Walter's got taken by the cops. They came. She basically reported him as abusive or whatever. They came and took him, and now he's in prison. And then now there's a random scene where like the bullies in college are like,
Chad, did you hear what happened with Marnie's uncle over the weekend?
Yeah, I heard. Do you think it's true?
I do.
That must suck.
Oh, we heard what happened about Walter. That's too bad, or whatever. Or
and now they're like kind
nice.
of dead.
I don't even know if we're there yet, but we can go there. There's a scene where they say something to her, and they're like dead,
and they're super in unison too.
Do you notice anything different about Lexa and her gang?
Well, they're acting like a human for a change.
Yeah, and they're like looking at her, and she's like, "Is something wrong with them?" And they're like, and I'm like, "What? What the fuck just happened?" I thought they had been turned into incubi or succubi, but it's not what happened. They had just been drained enough somehow that because in the next scene they crash their car and die, but they crashed their car. They were already dead when their car crashed. I think I fucking sussed this out. They were already dead when their car crashed because they had been drained so much that they were essentially died of exhaustion.
What a freak thing. Both of them dying from exhaustion? It's weird, isn't it?
And then we get back. There's a lot of scenes of just like Raphael, like, oh, he loves Marnie, but he can't be with her because if he's around her too much, he'll suck her soul out and she'll die.
What are you doing here?
I just wanted to talk to you.
Go home. I can't explain anything to you.
And there's also a great scene we were talking about earlier where at one point he comes and shows up, I think this is around this time, and she can't sleep. Mm-hmm. And Raphael shows up and goes, I can help you.
Let me absorb your soul till you pass out.
You should sleep.
I can't even close my eyes.
I can help.
That is literally his answer for her not being able to sleep is, I'll just suck a little bit of your soul out until you fall asleep. You know, it's like the world's least healthy way of, it's like the world's least healthy sleep aid. It's like sacrifice 1/10 of your soul so you can fall asleep one night. All right, thanks. Cool, great. So then there's a scene with back and forth with them in the park where he goes, Raphael's like,
did the police question you about your uncle while he was passed out?
And she goes, how'd you know about that? And he's like, I don't know. I definitely wasn't watching you through a pool.
How did you know that happened?
Forget it.
No, I'm not gonna forget it.
And then she basically figures out he's a vampire, but then it's so weird because in this scene she seems to figure out that he's like some sort of weird thing, like and then she touches his hand and it like sucks some energy out, or it doesn't matter.
It's you. Something happens every time you...
Marnie?
And she passes out.
I want to... Can we see what would happen if I just...
But then later there's like a whole reveal scene where he's like, I'm like a ghost, but I live off the energy of human life. And I'm like...
Human emotion.
Whatever.
We're like ghosts that get our energy from human emotion and life. That is the best way I can explain it.
I love that Raphael has a line too. He's talking to Bianca. He's like, when Marnie is around, there is... I don't know what voice I'm doing. I can't do it. But he goes, when Marnie is around, there is color. There is emotion.
I know what should happen, but that's not what I feel when she's around. There is color. There is emotion.
And I'm like, is that emotion? Is that what you're doing right now? Is emotion?
Do you want me to get...
Yeah, when she is around, there's color. There is emotion.
You'll see, when she is around, there's color and emotion.
It's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
There is color. There is emotion.
So then there's this thing that it just jumps around so much. I know this is impossible to follow, but there's a scene between Marnie and Johnny at Johnny's house, and this is where she tells Johnny that she considered killing herself in the tub, and Johnny's like, what the fuck?
And I was just thinking, you know, like, while I was taking a bath, what would happen if I just ended everything?
But she's also telling him about this article she's writing. And she's like, I'm writing this new piece. And he goes, well, can I read it? And she goes, no, not yet. It's not done.
What's it about? No. You can't read it yet. I'm not done. You know how I am with unfinished business.
But she goes, I really wanted to write something that made the readers think.
So I wanted to write something that would make my readers think, you know?
And I'm like,
yes.
Wow. That's like baseline level goals for writing, is to make whoever reads the thing you write think about it a little bit. Like,
there are words on a page that I must read and put together.
I don't know.
Done.
Yeah.
Accomplished. The dog ran in the rain. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Also, she's like, I was gonna kill myself, and he's like freaks out, like rightfully so, and she's like, no, I'm fine now though, and he's like, okay.
I'm fine. I'm fine. You don't have to put me on suicide watch or anything. Seriously, it's okay. I'm okay.
And I'm like, that's not how that works. You need to like make sure she's okay. You don't just, the person who just says, yeah, I was gonna kill myself is like, but I'm good now. Don't take that as an answer. Just kind of general life advice if you're out there and somebody's like, I was almost killed myself last night, but I'm all good now. Probably not all good, just as a heads up. Like, probably should look into that a little more.
Hey. Hey, what's up?
Then we get a vampire fight. Sorry, an incubus fight.
If you want to call it that.
Don't move.
It's literally just
We're
a bunch
in the
of
park.
It's a bunch of poofing and visual effects.
What are you doing?
I told you not to do this anymore, Raphael. It isn't right.
I don't want you to tell me what I can do anymore.
So Marnie goes up into the park and because she thinks Raphael's there, or she's looking for him or something, but then Bianca shows up and Raphael's like, no, don't hurt her. And then they're like battling and there's like fire, poof effects, like you said. It's really bad and dumb. And then I'm not even sure what happens.
Get out of here.
This isn't over.
Oh, this is right. This is where Raphael yells, stop, I'm not going to hurt you.
Stop. I'm not going to hurt you.
It's incredible.
Stop. I'm not going to hurt you.
And then they kiss and there are literal sparks, which was subtle. Then there's this great moment where I was so confused. Okay, I gotta talk about this because this is brilliant. So Johnny is sleeping There's a knock on his door, and he thinks it's Marnie, and he goes and answers it. Opens the door. It's fucking Walter with a gun.
Yes.
And he shoots Johnny and kills him.
Peace. It's too late for that, Johnny boy.
Cut to Marnie at home doing dishes, and Walter walks through the background, pulls a knife out of the knife block, walks up behind her and grabs her, and is like, oh shit, he's gonna kill her. And then Marnie wakes up.
As a dream.
Such a pretty little girl.
That's a dream, people.
Here's the thing. That works in movies where there are rules and things make sense. That does not work in a film where the continuity is so completely out the window that I was like,
how much you want to bet?
Did that really happen?
How much you want to bet that was shot for an earlier draft and then they rewrote it?
Yeah, and they're like, and it's a dream. Yeah, that's what it absolutely seems like. You absolutely can't do that when the movie doesn't make sense. When we just jump around and we don't explain how characters get places, and he could be out of jail. That would make sure. Why not?
Marnie.
I need to be here tonight.
Oh, there's a great scene. So then that night she goes to visit Raphael. This is the sex scene. After she has that nightmare, she goes with Raphael. I love this. She shows up at the gate and she's like, I want to come in. And there's a great moment where Raphael opens the gate like. And the gate just opens in front. There's a lot of that in this movie where somebody goes like, and a door shuts.
Come in.
And it's like every time you can tell that just enough of the door is out of the shot that there's just a PA laying on the ground going, slam! Whenever somebody does the thing. It's pretty amazing. Then we got a very tender love scene that is all off camera because, again, it's got to be PG or whatever. I think it's PG-13, but it could be PG. There's nothing offensive in this film at all. Other than most of the film. Yeah, they make love, and then we see his scar on his back from when he got brought back to life with that little talisman. Branded? Yeah, it's like she used that talisman to bring him back, and it like branded him. It's what I think we're supposed to get from that. So then she goes and confronts Bianca again, and Bianca makes a knife fly at her face.
You don't even know the half of it.
But I assure you, we're more dangerous than an old legend.
And Raphael catches it. A lot of nonsense happens.
Get out.
Human nature is a funny thing.
He yells, "Get out," which is great. But he yells, I say yells, and I have it written in all caps, but really he just goes, "Get out.
Get out."
Like
get out.
No, that's what you imbued way more emotion and range.
I had to go Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, it's get out.
Get out.
There's a great random shot of Walter in a mental institution. He's like, "Why, Barney? Why did you put me here?"
What about Walter?
Oh, Marty, why you put me here? Why?
So then, basically, Chris ends up dying.
Yes, off camera.
Off camera because she just been around him long enough that she just died of exhaustion. Kind of like the bullies.
It's kind of like being around asbestos or radiation.
Yeah, just eventually it gets you. Like, it takes a while, but eventually you're going down.
I'm careful not to be around you too much.
Chris? Hey! Go on her back. Go on her back. Call the police, all right, please.
So she ends up dying, again, off camera. Johnny tries to call her, but she doesn't answer.
And Johnny, by the way, he's roughly around these people the same amount of time as she is. Yeah. No effects at all, period.
No.
Throughout the
and there's
entire
even
film.
a really weird scene where she shows up to confront him, and she's like,
questioning, you all right? You haven't been feeling anything?
Yeah, and he's like, "No, I'm fine. Get the fuck out of here."
And how are you feeling?
Marnie, I'm fine. I'm okay. Why? What's going on?
Nothing. What did you do when she came over?
Well, first we got naked and then we exchanged bodily fluids.
And I'm like, what is happening? I felt like there was a disjointed scene in there that didn't fit in with the, like, or there was a scene we didn't see. I was like, what's going on?
Bianca, maybe we should just move on from this town.
But then he calls her basically and is like, look, Chris is dying. And so she goes and meets him, and I love this. He's waiting by a dead end sign, and I'm like, uh-oh. See what you did there. Woohoo! That's art, motherfucker. That is art. But there's a one scene where somebody's talking, I don't even know, Marnie's talking to one of the other vampires that's not Bianca, and she has the most insane makeup. She looks grayscale. I was like, that looks really good. That's the only time in the movie where she literally looks like she's like black and white, like film. And I'm like, what is going? It's like one scene and it doesn't mean anything, or it doesn't matter.
Chris is in the hospital.
I know.
So what happened?
Michael had just been around her a bit too long.
Will she die?
Oh, he tells her Chris died. He tells her Chris died, and then
and he concludes like from her being as sketchy as always asking you around these people. And stuff that, he concludes that they were the cause.
No.
Hey, you! Hey!
Johnny, stop.
Shut up!
Yeah, they were the cause.
He tries to fight.
Yeah, because Raphael shows up.
Yeah. It seems to me, okay, so he tries pushing Raphael, and it does not work at all.
Since you got here, Rafi. Shit.
No.
He immediately is like, oh, that didn't work.
So
he tries punching him.
Stop it! Stop it!
He gets literally tossed like, what, 30 feet?
Oh, he throws him. Yeah, Raphael throws him like a half a football field across this park.
Johnny, run! Johnny, go!
And Johnny gets up like, oh, ow. I'm like, whoa!
And then he just like does the little teleport behind him or whatever, grabs him by the throat and is draining his life force.
Essentially drains him / chokes him to death.
Let him go! Please, Raphael! Stop it!
Yes, and the entire time I was like, dude, you're killing him.
Yeah.
Overreaction.
No, but this is the idea is that it's sort of, I guess the idea is it's sort of like a primal, he can't, because they kind of talk about it the whole time, like, you're not going to be able to, you're going to end up killing her. That's just how you are. That's just what you are, you know? There's nothing you can do about it. So I guess the idea is that just sort of like his primal incubus rage comes out of him and he kills her. There's also a really quick, I got to talk about this scene because there's a really great continuity here where they're in the park and Bianca starts killing people in the park for some reason. Again, none of these scenes matter or mean anything.
Bianca.
What?
Damn it!
But this is where Johnny or Raphael confesses his love to Marnie in the park. She's sitting there like walking. She sits on a bench. And the bench is like a normal park bench. Comes up like behind her back. The camera's on one side. They're talking. And then they hear a scream off camera. The camera cuts to the other side and they turn. And all of a sudden she's sitting on some sort of bench that the back goes up this high.
I wanted you to know that.
What? Very clearly filmed on a completely different day at a completely different time, and they couldn't even be bothered to find the same type of bench that they were filming on. It's literally shot to shot, completely different.
Damn it! How did she find us?
Oh, and then Bianca sets Walter free.
Set me free!
Because Bianca has been wanting to kill Marnie this whole time because...
And so instead of her just
killing him, she gets Walter out of the mental institution so that he can kill her for a reason. Because...
Who's there?
They're at the beach, right?
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's amazing. Okay, so she's like passed out because she was trying to, get Raphael off of Johnny to stop him.
Oh, yeah,
killing Johnny.
And so she like passes out.
She's passed out.
And he carries her to the beach.
to the beach.
Are you okay?
Where are we? What happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. We are safe now.
I love doing when. So we know they can. Sorry, the ice. We know they can teleport and shit. I love when she gets Walter out of the mental institution. Their way, instead of just teleporting him out of there somehow, he just walks off camera like,
yes. And all she apparently did was open the door? Which it's not like there's
no guards, there's
there.
no staff, there's no... He's just like, what? And just walks out. I'm like, just... Why wouldn't you just make her VoIP him out of the prison and then you don't, or the mental institution, then you don't have to worry about anything that make...
Well, that makes way too much sense, Brian.
And then she VoIPed, apparently he ends up in the ocean?
Yes.
Why is he in the ocean? It doesn't make any sense. So then she comes to, and then Walter just comes casually strolling out from under the pier out of the ocean and grabs her and drags her down into the water.
Raphael belongs to me. I found his body and I made him what he is.
How did you get out?
And starts to drown her, I guess is the idea, right?
Sure, I have no clue at this
And then
point.
for some reason, the other Incubus gets a knife and kills Walter.
Although it's not like she can use, I don't know, any other ability.
Why
a knife?
And why is she killing? Why does she care?
I don't know. This movie is...
Like, why does she give a shit about this girl? She...
Yep. You right there, Brian?
No. Marnie kind of drowns. Not kind of, she does, essentially. She drowns. And then, we get it. I was not expecting it, but we fucking get a two-fisted, anguished... Ah!
No!
Just the cherry on top of the shit pile. It is a delight. I love everything about it.
No!
Then he has this line. Raphael says, "If the living must die, let them all become ashes. But if the dead continue the..." It's very convoluted. Let me try that again. "If the living must die, then let them all become ashes. But if the dead continue to live, then I will wait here until she returns to me."
If the living must die, then let them all become ashes. But if the dead continue to live, then I will wait here until she returns to me.
And at that time, the Olivia, I think is her name, the other succubus who killed Walter, is like, "No!
Raphael, no!"
What?
And then it cuts to a top-down shot of Marnie, and her eyes open, and she gasps. And I wrote, "Oh shit! Tell me it just ends with her gasping to life." And then it cuts to black.
Credits.
Fucking does. Nailed it, movie. So here's what I think happened. Go all the way back to that slate at the beginning. On November 1st, the entire town of Spoon River disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we are to believe is that Raphael did some sort of incubus spell that killed everybody in the town just to bring Marnie back to life. I think is what we are meant to believe happened, and that's how the movie ends. I think? I think?
I have no comment because this is way over my head.
I think that's what happened. There could be a sequel. I hope there is one day. Go back and make that. Kyle, I have to vote Good Bad for this one. I have to. I'm sorry.
It's good bad, but man, the in-between stuff is boring as shit.
There's definitely some boring stuff. I will say that it's about an hour and 40 minutes. If it was an hour and 20 minutes, be a lot better. A lot tighter. You could trim some fat in terms of the boring stuff. But the acting is so delightfully terrible. Raphael is an absolute delight. Watching Tommy Wiseau play a vampire was something I was not, or a suck incubus was not something I was expecting. And
why are you so serious? The Joker.
The Joker now? I was like, what?
Why have you seen that? Tommy Wiseau.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Yeah. And then Walter, the crazy sweaty preacher who just with the weirdest Southern accent.
I want to go home.
Johnny playing that weird friend character. It just
walking down his boulevard of broken dreams.
Yes. It's all amazing. All that stuff is great. I love that it's like a super cliche recycle. You know, it's Twilight but worse. Like I love that about it. I love the cheesy effects. It's got the production's like right teetering on the edge of bad and like mediocre. It's kind of in my perfect wheelhouse of the kind of bad movies I enjoy watching. Again, it's not perfect by any stretch. It has lots of downtime, but overall, I got to give it a good bad, which is good because I've had a lot of bad bads and a meh bad lately. I wanted to get back to a good bad.
But I assure you, we're more dangerous than an old legend.
Get out. All right.
Woo! As always, you can find us on Patreon. Support us there. Get access to our backlog podcast, Kyle Hates Everything, as well as our ongoing podcast where we answer AMAs, that sort of thing, talk about other movies and stuff that are coming out. That's at the $2 level. At the $5 level and above, you get access to Broken Dreams, where we go back and make fun of our own shit, because guess what? We're not good at it either.
Your clientele drops because they find better
still hearing cars.
You're inside!
People opening the doors, going in and out.
How is that more audible than your fucking conversation?
I don't know.
You're like 20 feet from the door.
And possible extension on that.
Yeah.
Film that I've worked on.
Potentially coming out before too long, once we get a hold of a copy of it, is a film that Kyle worked on.
Called Interviewing Monsters.
There you go.
Starring a couple of Canadians.
Yeah, Tom Green and Les Stroud are both in it. So yeah, we may do that we're probably gonna do that for patrons instead of putting it out on the main channel. I have a podcast called This Film Is Lit. Blanked out
on that one.
Blanked out for a minute. I just blacked out. Podcast called This Film Is Lit. Me and my girlfriend, Katie, talk about movies that are based on books. We're in the middle of our Harry Potter run. When this comes out, we will have just dropped the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix episode. Arthur Weasley mentions in the book, he mentions plumbles because he doesn't know what plumbers are. But wizards have pipes. Why don't they know it? Why don't they have plumbers?
Maybe.
Even if they're magic plumbers.
I don't know.
That's a weird one to me.
Maybe they just don't call them plumbers.
What would they call them?
I don't know.
They use other regular words. Most of their language is like normal words. Why is plumber a weird one? Even if they use magic to do it, they're still plumbers. They have pipes. They call it plumbing. Don't they? Like, what do they call it if they don't call it plumbing? Do they just call it like the pipes?
These are all really good questions.
I'm just saying. It doesn't make any sense. I was really confused by that. Then we're doing a Sleepy Hollow episode for Halloween, then finishing out Harry Potter, and then we're done with that and moving on. It's been a raucous ride of Harry Potter. Anyways,
last but not least, Luna and the Moonling.
Luna and the Moonling. Our good friend Jesper Meforce, all the art.
Who Brian found out is in WoW.
Holy shit, he's in WoW! I fucking blew my mind. We were talking to him last night on a Twitch stream. Motherfucker has a quest character NPC named after him in WoW for the Hallows End event.
You get to give him trick or treat candy or something like that.
I remember doing that. I was like, "Are you fucking?" So yeah, cool, great. Apparently one of his friends worked on the game, so that was awesome and kind of mind blowing. Speaking of Twitch, you can follow us GBorBB_Brian for me, GBorBB_Kyle for him.
And as far as a time in which we'll do it, who knows?
Random, real random. Sometimes we do them together. Sometimes we'll do them independently.
And occasionally, like the most recent one, I brought Brian in through a Skype call.
I just showed up because I got onto the comments and was shit posting in the comments. Got into the fucking Skype call.
And I was like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to put this in as a source? Oh, wait, I can just drag the freaking window over it.
Drag the window over. So yeah, you can check us out on Twitch. Occasionally we stream on there and interact and sometimes play games with fans, which we did a couple weeks ago. So yeah, those are all the places you can find us. Those are all the things we do. That's everything we have to offer you. Until next time, keep watching movies. Especially
expose the mystery.
Oh yeah, sorry. The whole title. Expose the mystery.
Expose the mystery. The Incubus.
Maverick Films Entertainment or whatever.
Films Entertainment.